Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Steph.
And I'm Elle.
And I'm Mel.
And I'm Al.
They all sound so similar.
It does.
Phonetically pleasing. Well, okay. We're back with week 2 for 31 Days of Horror, and this is a full week. And I gotta tell you, I had a time. I don't know about you guys, gals. I had a time getting through these movies.
Time is a kind way to say it.
Yes, I'm a nice lady.
I'm not.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like I sprinkled in at least one good choice, some potentially good choices, and then some not so great choices, which is great because most people were displeased last week with our 3 choices. So I think that that's a good, we're going in the right direction for this month, right? I think so.
Build up.
Mhm.
Yeah. It can only get better from here if we start shitty. That's my philosophy. So, okay, so let's do our rankings. Did everyone watch all of the movies? Let's start there.
I got 3 of them, and I did a deep dive of 14 cameras because I can't watch that again. I've seen it once. I don't need to watch it again. So,
No one should watch it again.
Fair.
so
I didn't Flesheater, and I didn't see half of their outside.
I
Fair.
mean, the first half is pretty much the same as the last half of They're Outside. I'm just gonna be honest. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, Elle, you watched them all?
Mhm.
Okay, so you guys can't rank all the movies because you didn't watch them all, which is perfectly fine.
Mhm.
It was a time. But Elle can.
Starting at the bottom, we have case 347,
Okay.
and then 14 cameras, and then Flesheater, and then Nightbreed, and then They're Outside, and then Possum. And my top movie was The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Ours are a little different, but our top 2 are the same. I put They're Outside at the bottom. I put They're Outside at the bottom, and then I feel like you're gonna be so mad at me. Then Case 347, and then Flesheater, and then 14 Cameras, and Nightbreed, and then Possum and Autopsy of Jane Doe.
I mean, let me be perfectly honest. I was not conscious through a good part of most of these movies, and
Yeah.
I was just ranking them on potential and like vibes because I tried.
Yeah.
I watched not Nightbreed, Flesheater 3 fucking times. Fell asleep all 3
You
times. Once I
did?
was sitting in this office chair and I fell asleep. It is too long. It is 2 movies in one, and they're both bad. But they're funny. I'll give them that. They're fun, but if you would have separated them, I could have had fun with 2. You know what I mean?
Okay. Fairs. We'll get theirs. Okay. So, I mean, let's jump into it, from the bottom up. Let's start with They're Outside. So They're Outside, it's like a mockumentary. The guy's a piece of shit, okay, and his girlfriend is the cameraman, and apparently he has a habit of just like flirting with all of his subjects, which, like, why would she keep working with him? Like, do it yourself. He figures it out eventually. And he's studying this lady with agoraphobia and trying to get her to go outside. That's the basic. Who watched this movie? Raise your hand. You watched half.
You just
Okay.
described like, well, that's pretty much what I saw. So I mean,
He's studying a lady with acrophobia, he says, which is a different phobia that he like beats his fucking girlfriend up for saying it wrong or like stumbling when she says it. Agoraphobia is, he pronounces it acrophobia, which, why are you being mean to someone for not being able to say it when you're saying it in the most stupid British sounding way ever and makes me want to punch you in the face?
he's pretentious, and I
He-
knew when I watched it, it was gonna piss Elle off, and I was just waiting because he's a dickhead, and also like
He's an
he's
ass.
introducing every time he introduces his girlfriend, like she's a part of this team and like a pivotal piece, and also his partner.
Mhm.
That's the first thing he says. Oh, you should hear her pronounce this word.
Yeah,
Ew.
it's mean. He's so mean, and he's not even saying it right. And she has an American accent, so she, she's not talking in his weird little fucking British tongue that he's using. And I'm sorry, he just made me so mad. And I was eating beans and toast when I watched this too, so I was like in the
He
British
said,
mood. And I
Fuck your
was
beans
so-
and toast,
I
bitch.
was like, fuck your beans and this was definitely a wanting to teleport into the movie so I could fist fight a character one. Doesn't
I kn-
happen too often, but
I knew that
maybe.
that was going to be a thing. Girl, it happens. It be happening on this podcast, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, especially when they,
They're mean.
deserve it. Yeah,
Don't
he's
be a
shitty.
meanie bobini.
So, motive to like cure her of her fear or to traumatize her?
I genuinely feel okay. So first of all, he kisses this lady, so he just cheats on his girlfriend. I think he gets off on like putting these women through very extreme emotions. I think he likes it. I don't think that there's anything scientific about this motherfucker. I'm just
Is
gonna
he
be
a
honest.
psychologist? That's what I'm
I
wondering.
don't
Like,
think so. I think he's just a guy with a camera.
that's what I thought. What the fuck are you doing dealing with an agoraphobic? Like, that is something like cognitive behavior therapy takes years and like the right stuff, and you can be put back if you get like pushed into the wrong situation. You can like jump back years of work. And so having this absolute idiot charlatan asshole piece of shit British motherfucker come in and fuck with her,
Yeah.
and on top of it, like, just the reason I placed it so high was the beginning, and I will tell you that because I like the idea of it. I like the idea of using kind of like this documentary
Mm-hmm.
thing to cover folklore, because this is like a folklore story, really, what it comes down to, like an ancient one too, like a green-eyed creature in the woods that is like stealing kids, I guess, but it sounds
Yeah.
very fairy. It's very fey. And I was really excited, and then I just got mad and I kind of blacked out for the second half of the movie. So
Well, I mean, I don't remember the way some of these movies ended, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't at home the entire week. So I was just doing my best. And I do remember how this one ends. And the reason I put it at the bottom is because it ends with like him basically peer pressuring her outside, and she's like, well, we can't get back inside now. You fucked us. And she was very calm about it. And he goes inside like a tree, and there's all this weird shit in, and then he's like possessed by green eyes, and then he like attacks her at the end. And so for me, it's like there's all this nonsense. Like she's talking about the green eyes thing, but there's nothing really happening. And her friend even fake a video of proof at one point. So it's like very mundane. And then you have like this last little blip of like fantastical at the end. And I'm like, it's too late. The movie's over. Forget it. It's too late. And then that's it. So
fair.
yeah.
I think if all the other movies didn't suck too, I would have
Yeah.
maybe placed it different.
I think so too, honestly. But it's a forgettable movie. Sorry to the people who made it. I don't.
I'm
It's
not.
it's going in the trash pile. No, thank you. I gave it 1 chud. Just in case you're curious.
I gave it 1.5 chuds. So I can see the potential in the
Yeah.
idea. They just didn't deliver at all. And they
No.
gave me perhaps, and it's pretty bad to say he's like one of the most irritating protagonists I've seen so far just in 31 Days of Horror, because we had that guy from Butterfly Kisses last week.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Fuck
there
this guy
have been
harder.
some awful men, and this man is definitely worse. I mean, and also like Possum, just awful men. This guy's worse. I still
I'm not gonna say anything until we get to Possum.
Yeah. This block of movies like made me think more about how much of especially American horror is designed around like women's trauma and like children's trauma and minority trauma, like real life experience trauma, and less of it is, creative endeavors to make something different and scary, something imaginable and scary. Instead, it's just like, what's your worst nightmare about like your neighbor coming in and doing stuff to you? I mean, it's that over and over and over again kind of thing.
And I hate that so much. I love a monster. I love like give me something that's not gonna happen down the street. Give me like use your imaginations. Like we all have it.
Lean into the folklore element. That was cool. That's the 0.5 chud for me, is I could see the potential in the folklore element, but they did not choose to lean into it.
No. I bet that guy that was himself playing himself and he made the movie. That's probably not canon, but that's just the vibe that it's giving. So
he at least thought that guy was cool. There's somebody out there that thinks that guy is cool, and I would like to fist fight them.
Yeah, a bunch of TikTok boys. I'm telling you. When we post this clip, they're gonna be pissed.
Oh well.
Die mad. That is literally it. There's nothing else to this movie. Okay. Raise your hand if you watched Case 347.
I wish I had it.
Oh, me too. Okay. So this is an alien abduction movie. When I picked it, it was random. I thought from the picture it was like going to be a possession movie. It's not, because it's got like a hand claw. It's not. It's UFOs. It's alien abduction. It feels like, respectfully, it feels like a Fourth Kind ripoff. I don't know if you guys have seen The Fourth Kind. That movie scares me. Mila Jovovich is in it, and it's about abduction. A doctor, just like this movie, a doctor is studying those cases, but it's very much giving like demonic possession, like scary, like a very scary alien situation, right? And instead of deer, like in this movie, they have owls. Like you see the owls in your dream. They say in this movie, like when the girl was having the dreams about the deer, it's like her brain can't even conceive of what she's seeing, so it puts something else in there, which I think is scary. But this movie just wasn't good. It's another mockumentary one, and I feel like it could have been like there was all this stuff happening, and it was like connected to her dad and like all this mysterious stuff, but I didn't like it. Wish I wasn't so shitty about it. I thought it could have been so good. They were talking about, it dropped because the Freedom of Information Act thing, and I thought it could have been super cool. They threw black-eyed kids in there, which I didn't think was alien related. So,
it can be, depending on what you read. Yeah. Sometimes you see it written more as demons. Sometimes you see it written more as aliens. But also there's a lot of phenomena that's that way. Like there's also just like the idea of like extra-dimensional versus extraterrestrial, which we didn't get into it. I don't know what we're looking at here, honestly. And I did fall asleep during this one, so maybe I'm just not. But it was so long.
Yeah, that's why.
So long.
Because not because you fell asleep, but because there's like nothing to know. Like like I almost did a jig. I was so excited because I like extraterrestrial horror because the shit's scary. Unknown is always going to be scary if you can execute it. Even Signs with the crappy costumes was a little scary.
We did that. Yeah.
I feel like though it's pretty evident 15 minutes in that this is like conversation for Earth 347, honestly, rather than case, because it's just talking. All of it's talking. And it was impossible to make anything exciting out of that. It was not exciting. It was boring.
it was super boring. And then they threw in like all of a sudden, this woman that they were interviewing, she woke up with a nosebleed and a miscarriage. And she said, well, that's crazy. I haven't had sex in 5 months. And you're like, oh, aliens impregnated her. But it's not like that anything.
Said he got dissected. I would be like, okay, folks, pull up the shirt. Let's see the scars from
Give
the
me a
alien.
scar.
I mean, he just was like, you can use your imagination to imagine what happened to me rather
Right.
than me telling you. It's just, I was so disappointed.
They had so many interesting elements to it. The black-eyed kid element was interesting. There was a moonburn syndrome element to it as well, which is like the phenomena of people coming in contact with UFOs and then having radiation poisoning symptoms. And the girl's dad died of radiation poisoning, pretty much. Like that's what she was describing. It's an interesting thought, because if something was coming from another dimension or another planet, we don't know what their technology would do to us. We don't know, because we're living in different, worlds. So that is something that I think is personally fascinating. But again, the way that they did it was like backburnering it and making it like not an interesting element in the thing. And I felt like they did the same thing with the black-eyed kids, because it was just like a blip in it instead of like leaning into what could have been interesting. Yeah. Instead we've got like singing with hillbillies out in the desert. I don't and seeing something.
The BK added some confusion for me, because it's like, why do you need, I guess, to possess or to override, children's bodies to gain entrance into cars and residences if you can just abduct people? I mean, it just was an unnecessary element. Get it?
Yeah.
So that was what they were positing with that. So as somebody who has read a lot of BEK stuff, what I've heard them called on the extraterrestrial side is they're like halflings, like half human, half alien. And so I didn't know that's the vehicle that they were using. That's fucking a boring use of BEKs.
Yeah, why were they asking to come in? All of them asked to come in. It seems like they were kind of, more powerful, at least in terms of technology, than human beings. They don't need to ask. They could just suck up the car or whatever it is.
Right. And that's what's terrifying about aliens. Like I read Whitley Strieber's Communion way too young, and that is a terrifying fucking book. But the fact that like they're like potentially technology that is completely beyond anything that we understand, that could just come in and just wipe you out in an instant and you wouldn't have any counter to it. There's no planning. There's none of this stuff like where you can like build up a defense, because they're so overwhelmingly beyond what we have on Earth. And that's what's terrifying about aliens.
Like we're ants. And they could just come in, snatch me up while I'm just defenseless in my bed, and put an alien baby in my body.
Ew. I don't know why they would do that, but I think there was a season of American Horror Story where there was like
I just watched
alien
that.
invasion. That's the one that I think does like a really good job with the helplessness of it. Like it's the beginning of Asylum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like kind of like the weird like side plot of Asylum.
Oh, I just realized they do more alien stuff in a later season. And it's like with the alien pregnancy stuff and the government. It's a lot.
No, I was thinking like the beginning of Asylum. It's like a really good depiction of how like futile it is to come up against them, because it's like you just see a bright light in your windows and all of a sudden like your world's upside down and there's nothing you can do. And that's what's terrifying about aliens. Why would we lean into whatever the fuck this was? I don't know.
It was like they had a lot of really good ideas and couldn't decide on what to whittle it down to, so they just underdeveloped all of them and shoved them into this movie. My brain can't. It doesn't
In
like
a very uninteresting way.
that.
In a very uninteresting way. That's the problem. They took all of this interesting shit and wove it together in a very uninteresting way with some bad acting, some really fucking bad acting.
Oh yeah, it
I-
wasn't good.
Well, what I like about how conversational it was, and this is a mad stretch to even put like in the same like sentence with this movie, but is that it kind of danger of like mass gaslighting, you know? So it was kind of like, nope, you're crazy. You didn't see an alien. Poof. You know, like anybody who ever says they saw anything, you know, to do with a UFO extraterrestrial alien is automatically crazy and therefore disregarded. And, you know, that kind of was a danger to the whole human race. So I kind of like that. It does show the danger of just marking people off as, you know, mentally ill or chronically ill. Oh, you just got strange radiation cancer. You don't know what you're talking about, you know. So I like that part of it, but they could have developed that even, you know. More people could have been trying to warn people. They did have that whole conversation about, do you tell the world's going to end, or do you just let people go about their business? And I think that's one of the great questions of life in society, you know. Do you give people the option of what to do in their final hours, or do you assume it'll be chaos and just go forth with secrecy? So I kind of like that, but once again, underdeveloped, untouched after the conversation. Pointless.
I don't even remember how it ends.
I don't either. I was asleep and I tried twice. I tried twice with this one.
Good for you. I wouldn't have. Okay. Flesheater. Raise your hand if you watched Flesheater. Okay. It's just us. Honestly, we can breeze through Flesheater. It's literally somebody's dusty grandpa came out of a box and started eating people. He literally looked like a grandpa that someone sat there and hand dry brush painted with gray paint and let him go and bite the young hotties. Okay. The interesting thing was there was very ominous music, opening music, which I was digging. There was a lot of awkward white people in the forest dancing, which was very entertaining. But then there was also a rock on top of this guy's coffin, a rock with a pentagram on it. And I was like, are we really doing this rock thing again? This magical rock? I guess that magical rock was holding him inside and someone moved it. And then
Farmer.
Farmer stupid. Don't touch the rock. Don't touch the magic rock. And that's the moral of the story. There is, a really fucked up scene in here that I thought was hilarious. It's so awkward and it's so cringy, and I'm gonna describe it to you guys, okay? And I guess it's like a party, right? There's all these young hotties, young 80s hotties, and I guess two of them mosey on off to the barn. It's so awkward. She tries to put the moves on him. He was like, whoa, I'm not ready for anything serious. And she's so monotone. She's the worst actress I've ever seen. And she's just like, hey, I wasn't trying to do anything serious. I just wanted to fool around a little bit. And then he's like, I was really excited when our friend hooked us up together. And she was like, we can take things slow, whips her titties out, and then they start making out.
Maybe I should have watched this one.
There were titties.
There were a lot of titties. I'll give it that.
I
like
just
that's
searched
the
it
pro
to-
side.
I just searched it to look up the Dusty Grandpa, and every single image on Google was
Titties?
blurred for safe filter.
Yeah, it was.
There are a lot. I turned it off. There are a lot of boobs.
Like, so, yeah. Take a look for, solidarity.
Yeah.
But my thing is, once Dusty Grandpa came into play, if you're like, what was that? Put your titties away, sister. Put the boobs away.
I mean, she wanted to die with her titties out. I can
That's
relate.
good for her. I don't
I'm
know
not
how
putting
he
my
got
bra
that
back
way.
on if I'm just gonna die anyway. Fuck that.
No, but I'll at least zip up my vest. I don't want them things swinging around while I'm dying. I want to die with a little bit of dignity. To each their own.
Yeah, I don't know. I might go with the swinging death.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like,
And-
fuck it, I'm dying anyway.
Yeah.
I
What
don't
do I
know.
care? I have had
Yeah.
no dignity in life. Why would I have dignity in death?
Is this because I'm a Virgo that I would absolutely zip my shit up?
You did it
before-
yourself. Wasn't even me this time.
I was like, I'm not doing that. They're going to be put away. Because then you're a titties out zombie.
That's
Oh,
true. Okay,
True.
Right.
this was very zombie Dracula coded.
Yeah. It was funny. It was funny. I didn't really pay attention because I'm like, there's not a plot here at all.
No.
There's no origin. There's no like explanation to how Dusty Grandpa got to be so fucking dusty. It's just a romp. You know what I mean? It's just a romp. I had a good time. It was funny.
It was hilarious. Once they went through the hayride teenagers, like we could have ended the movie there. Like,
Yeah.
let's end the movie there. We can do Dusty Grandpa part 2 and then go to
Yeah.
the Halloween party. Because like for me, I was done after the hayride folks. Like I wasn't on board for the party folks. But I mean there was again some terrible acting that was really
Mhm.
funny there. Very monotone again.
I wish I could like if you guys could at least scroll through to the barn part and hear this lady. I can't even express to you how monotone she
It
was.
was
And I'm like, she did this
hilarious.
for free. They didn't pay her. They didn't pay her.
Uh-uh.
You gotta pay for inflection.
Had to be because there's no fucking way. Like I would need a refund. Like nice boobies, but there's talking involved.
One tone and 2 titties.
Yep. Perfect
Period.
description of the movie.
Literally. So we're gonna get into 14 cameras. Mel, did you watch 14 cameras?
Yes.
Amazing. Apparently there's more movies because I saw 13 cameras hanging out in the
Mhm.
corner. That's ominous. I hate that. I can't imagine what more there could be. It's about this man whose fucking username on the dark web is Slumlord because he's a landlord and he puts cameras in his properties and he kidnaps ladies.
The Dusty Grandpa version of the kid from Hey Arnold that breathes with his mouth open behind
Yeah.
Helga.
There's nothing dusty about him. He's slimy and crusty at the same
Okay.
time.
He really is.
He
and
literally
so
looks like
jacked.
a veiny, beefed up toe. That's what he looks like.
Rip.
Someone the deep dive I was watching, Mr. Juji called him a deep fried battle toad. And I was like, that's the most accurate description of this man.
Oh my god.
Because yeah.
That should have been a name, Battletoad. Try that.
Battletoad. No, he was icky.
We just have this common theme of grandpas wreaking havoc
excuse
this
me.
week, though.
Yeah.
I'm not into it.
Once again, is this a horror film or is this from porn fantasy? You know, like, I don't know. It is pretty disgusting and it would be really scary if something happened like that, you know, but also it's like the joke is on the women. Like once again, like even though he's putting like cameras into all these places, I know that technically he's watching just anybody who comes into the house, but he's kidnapping women and feeding them cheeseburgers. Dear God, like that in itself is a horror. If I had to eat cheeseburgers for 2 days in a row, I'd die. Like, I don't know. I just feel
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. I definitely did it on our
Yep,
trip. I ate
yep.
a lot of cheeseburgers. Sorry about
Okay.
I would survive. This is like the one situation where I would prevail.
Yeah, she says she's adapted to the cheeseburger. She would make it. So I'd be like, day 2, no, don't kill me. No, I mean,
Well,
just I don't know. It's at the expense of women. Like I'm wondering while I'm watching this, like, what are men supposed to feel while they're watching this? Are they
That's a good
supposed to feel
question.
terrified for the woman? Are they supposed to feel like they want to protect the woman? Are they supposed to feel like they're rooting for the slimy toad? I mean, I don't know. It's icky to consider. Like, who's it for? It's not for us, you know.
No.
Well, and like I'm trying to think, I haven't seen 13 Cameras came out first. So 13 Cameras was the first part of the movie, and the blonde chick in the basement that he's had kidnapped for an eon was the
in that
main
movie?
character in the first movie.
Right.
Her
Oh.
husband, I think, gets killed. And she's pregnant, and so Battletoad's son is her kid. It's not even, he's not even genetically related to, and so that's like when that music stinger happens, when she walks out of the shadows and it's like, who the fuck are you supposed to be? That's why that's supposed to be important, is because you're supposed to watch 13 Cameras first and know who she is. And so it's
Oops.
like, yeah,
Sorry.
so it's like, I'm like, I don't know if you're supposed to be like, oh, you know, even the tough men who are, you know, have beautiful wives with kids can get murdered and have horrible things happen to them too, but I don't get that vibe in the second movie in 14 Cameras. I just got everything is uncomfortable and cringy.
Okay.
It's so
I think
gross.
it makes it worse that his main focus in this are underage children,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because that makes me extra stabby.
Yeah,
How
and he's
old are the
selling like live streams. Well, the girls are in college, but they're like,
Oh,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure they're
Oh, I thought they
freshly in
were.
college.
I thought they were children, so I was mistaken.
No, I only got that because the boy was arguing, oh, I want to bring a friend on our super expensive vacation, and they were like, no, and he's like, oh, sister gets to bring her friend, and they're like, she's in college.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why that makes a difference. I guess because they don't have to be responsible for a minor on this
Yeah,
trip.
maybe.
That's true, yeah.
It's still grody. I don't know.
But they were under 21 because she snuck in the alcohol in a water bottle.
Is where does the line between, you know, voyeurism turn into interactivism, you know, into messing with, manipulating, and destroying people's lives, I guess. So, you know, there is that question, which is kind of fun. Like, how much voyeurism, even on the internet, innocently is innocent? You know, if you're driving people to do more and more and worse things for that platform, I guess. I don't know. I guess that would be the only philosophical question there. But for me, it still boils down to whose terror is the most here. And it's definitely like women, you know? And so that in itself is manipulative, you know, and indicative of the society we live in a way that's not super creative.
Yeah.
I was telling Steph this felt a little Hounds of Lovey to me, from last year.
Yeah, I heard that it didn't hit the same for me, I think, because the actual women that it doesn't make it any better. The actual women he kidnapped were like adults, and Hounds of Love they literally like suckered a schoolgirl into getting into their car and kept her. And like the wife was jealous of her, and it was very like personal.
Yeah.
And in this one, it felt like it didn't really matter who he grabbed to keep.
That's true.
You know, and he was selling the live streams of the young girls, which is still very icky. Like, it's not nice. And then they had that moment like at the end where it got really scary because they wanted him to pay him to kidnap the girl, and like that for some reason is where he draws the line. I will only kidnap for my own. I will not kidnap. What is there an age limit? And for other people, I'll just steal her underwear and sell it to you. And someone gets the address, and he goes in there, and you're like, well, what is he gonna do? He's like, if anyone's gonna kidnap her, it's gonna fucking be me. He wasn't being a hero.
I don't know. For me, it's just like if the horror is based on violence towards a person by like another I don't it's there's nothing supernatural about it. There's nothing interesting
No.
about it. There's no lore element to it.
Mm-mm.
It's just humans being shitty humans to other humans. And it's not my type of movie. It's not what I enjoy watching. So
No, I didn't have a good time watching.
No, and there are like similar things that like Hush kind of does that similar thing where it's like she's
I
alone in her
like
cabin in the
Hush.
woods, and some guy comes in and he thinks he's gonna be able to like control the situation, and it's creepy. But Hush did it well.
Oh, so
Like,
well.
Hush was scary. And like this movie just felt gross. Like the toothbrush thing is like I'm like and sticking
Oh, the
the
toothbrush.
it was like what?
I forgot about that.
It
It's
tastes
not
like
only
shit.
yeah, it's not only him like putting it in his mouth. It's the fact that this bitch has like halitosis and like somewhat like he put nastiness on
Yeah.
it. Not like you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very gross and very cringy, and I'm just like
And unsettling that he's so buff, because what the fuck?
he's so buff, he's so
Yeah.
ripped.
I don't like it.
No.
Be flabby.
Yeah. I think that was
He
the
moves-
worst part too, is like you're very jacked, but you also look like the kid from Hey Arnold. I don't know.
And you
like,
move like you're 100.
yeah.
Yes. He's
It's
a
very
murder
confusing.
grandpa. He's a rabid
Literally.
murder grandpa.
Yeah.
Like the guy from what is it? Don't
Breathe.
blink.
This movie
Don't
reminds me
breathe.
of Don't Breathe. And that's I think one of
Yeah.
the reasons I don't like this movie is I hate Don't Breathe.
I really liked Don't Breathe, but because it literally is crawled under my skin and scared absolute shit out of me. Like it scared me so bad.
Yeah.
But it's like creepy, overly gross buff grandpa, and that guy was fucking blind, and he could still get you and do gross things to you.
Yeah.
We should cover that movie.
Are you sure? Maybe you could cover it with Jay or with
I was gonna say you don't have to be on it. But there's a thing. It's just really scary.
Well,
I don't think you'll like it.
Isn't like the guy who owns the house in Barbarian an old crusty grandpa too? Like isn't and he
Yes.
kidnaps people?
And
Like, what
he's
is what is it with
yeah.
old
Yes,
crusty
head or
grandpas
whatever.
kidnapping
Yeah.
people in
It's
his rental
insane.
properties?
Yeah.
It's because boomers have all the fucking houses, so they have
it's
to
the-
be the crusty grandpa.
That's true.
It's
Our
just
generation
it's
can't
canon.
own it. Yeah, our
It's
generation can't
canon.
own property. Come on, unless you're like,
I feel like it's because we live in an ageist society and everyone's
Yeah.
terrified of getting old and old people. I mean, so much
That
that we
too.
put our old people away in like nursing
And
homes.
Social Security is
that-
gonna run out by the time we're old,
Mhm.
so we
Right.
don't have anything.
So I think that's why, and then they have to like go out of their way to make these old people super able-bodied,
Mhm.
to kill people and drag them around and all that. So yeah, I think it's hilarious that they're working so hard to adhere to ageism that this guy looks like a jack toad. I don't know. For me, it wasn't scary. It was more like, ew, than it was like, ooh, no. And so I'm just kind of bored with that right now. Like I as a woman, as a person of color, blah, 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 I realized somebody could always come in the door and murder me, whatever. Like that's always scary. Like show me something,
Yeah.
you know.
I should have switched 14 cameras and Flesheater because Flesheater was fun.
yeah.
My bad.
That's
I mean-
why I put it where I did, because it was fun.
Yeah. I agree with that part.
Yeah, okay. Well, listen, we don't have to talk about Buck Grandpa.
It was just
Anymore,
this was just
and,
an
like, ever
avalanche of
again.
cringe. There was no
Why was
enjoyable
he breathing
parts.
like that?
Yes.
No, he was shuffling around like, like, what's wrong with you? Maybe you
then
should
at the end, he just
stop.
starts, like,
Oh,
Like,
he's still
perfect-
at it.
perfect Spanish.
I said, excuse the fuck out of me. You mean to tell me that you had to abandon your whole life? It makes sense because that kid is not his kid, but I'm like, your fucking child. And you escape to another country, and the first thing you do is grab 3 more ladies? What is wrong with you? What?
Hobbling around in the desert with a cane.
Oh my god. He's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm
R.I.P.
guessing they
though.
were.
I mean, he
Yeah.
apparently
No.
died like shortly after 14 Cameras came out. So
Oh.
I was gonna say it seemed
Oh.
like they were setting it up for another movie, but that's not
Nope.
gonna happen now. Rip.
No 15 cameras.
nope.
And I'm not watching 13 cameras, so thank you for the
Mm-mm.
information, Al.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a completely different movie. Like it is more of the like don't breathe style tension horror. Like he's stalking her through the house kind
Yeah.
of type of.
Oh.
Apparently, it's a completely different.
It's not. No. Cameras in his rental properties where he's watching whole families potentially. It's like one woman at a time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was a bit much. I think
But yeah, it's a lot.
this was a bit much. Okay. All right, well. Raise your hand if you watch Nightbreed. Yay! Okay. You guys listen. I wanted to love Nightbreed. I went in expecting I was gonna love this. It's got Clive Barker's name on it. It came out after Hellraiser. I was like, fuck yeah. I didn't love him. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it because, you know, there was a lot of potential like for it to be like exactly the kind of thing I love. And
You mean camp?
it got I fucking love camp. But like I feel like it was at least 30 minutes too long and they should have done a
Yeah.
lot less.
At least.
Mhm.
Like
Oh yeah.
Did you watch the director's cut? Because I had
Yeah.
the same thought. I was like, this feels like it's way too. I kept feeling like, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? And I was like, how is this
Yes,
movie 2 hours
and
long?
I got Freddie to watch this movie with me, and when we got up to like there being like 35 minutes left, he literally said, I think I'm over this movie. And that's where we shut it off for the day, and I finished it by myself the next day. Because it just got willy-nilly at that
Mhm.
point. But there's a lot of stuff that I liked. So the main character's name is Boone, and he's like a hot leather jacket, big hair, 80s guy with really sharp angles on his
Yes.
face. He looks like he was carved from marble.
He was
And
giving handsome Squidward.
handsome Squidward, yeah, in the most respectful way. I know you
Have him
have
back
him
there.
in the
I was
background.
like, I want to go get him, but I can't. I'm
It's-
tethered.
And
He's
the
like
last
handsome
time
Squidward and Patrick Swayze. Like
yes, yeah, no, exactly that. Because the last time I used handsome Squidward to describe someone, it was the fish man from The Shape of Water. So, because I'm like, why are his lips so perfect? That's weird. But
See,
I did.
Handsome, I thought the demon guy, what was his name? Started with a P.
The demon guy.
I don't fucking remember anyone's name.
I don't know.
I
there
don't
was
either,
no
except for
captioning,
Boone.
so I couldn't hear anything. I thought the main
I-
character's name was
The
Dawn.
handsome.
Oh, it's Boone.
I know, I was like, I
She's
thought it was
don't worry, she's gonna find it. And the
Yeah.
only reason it stuck is because of Boone from Lost. And after it's Ian Somerhalder's character.
Yeah.
And after he died the first season, that's literally where I stopped watching Lost. That's the only reason why I remember.
That was the first episode I watched, was the episode where he died. Because someone's like, oh, hey, the handsome guy dies in Lost. So I skipped all the first like 20
Forget
episodes.
Mel,
It's like showing me all these old people. Show me when they were young. I don't know.
oh, their IMDb pictures.
Yes.
I
It's
mean,
like
okay, so I didn't think he was like I wasn't like attracted to this man, but he was giving carved from stone, like he's the hot guy, you know. And then his girlfriend was a singer, but I'm gonna be so honest, his girlfriend was entirely too invested in this man, entirely too invested, and I can't figure out why. Because I don't know how long they were dating, but if my boyfriend gets shot up and he becomes like the savior of the Nightbreed and he lives downstairs underground
I'm moving
underneath
on.
you're not the one for me. I wish you the best of luck, my guy. I can't go with you. Say less. There's weird guys down there. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Say less.
I did not understand why she was like, oh, Boone. I was like, girl, there are other fish in the sea.
Like, you're a singer, you're a star. Just pick one.
Cute as hell. She's
You
so
so
cute.
adorable. And like, make me a list. Like, make me a list of the things that you love so deeply about him.
It felt like it dropped us into the middle of the relationship with none of the rest of the like information. I'm like, we could have taken so much of the extra stuff out towards the end that we didn't need, and like give us more like something substantial for them, because it feels like there's like a whole story that we're missing about them that makes their romance supposed to be endearing.
Yeah.
But this is based off of a book, so there probably is way more context in the book. It made me want to read the book, so like it did a good job there.
I mean, I'll just say, like, I get attached to people, and there is like an extent to where, I don't know, I can be flippant about it and be goofy, but if I like really loved someone, I'm not giving up. And if there was any way to stay with them, even if it meant ending myself and like being a Nightbreed or whatever, like doing whatever, like becoming something different or dying, knowing that I would 100% go with them, I would fucking do it. Like,
okay, wait a minute.
That's the way I love people. And I think most people are like that. There are a lot of people that are like that.
Okay. No, I totally agree with you. And if we could just rewind back to that episode that we did with whichever wolf brother.
I flipped 100%. I have.
Okay. I feel the same. You remember that movie with Thor? And I was like, oh man, yeah.
I would follow him to the ends of the earth, and I ripped on you, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Because I have come around.
I immediately was like, oh shit, this guy is interesting. I'm gonna follow him to the ends of the earth. He's handsome and he's interesting. I am the main character in a fantasy romance novel, and I'm got to see it through my boy.
Mhm.
And Elle. So, but that's why I'm saying I feel like we need context, because I'm not invested.
Same.
For my man, if he's a Nightbreed, me too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's the thing. It's like, I think that it's just the clumsy way that the storytelling is here that cheapens it that way. Yeah. And I did flip, and I admit that. I also think I talk shit in spring too. I have different opinions about things now.
Okay.
Things have happened in my life. I have
this.
Different opinions about things. Okay.
Oh,
this just makes me happy.
Right around.
I love this. I love when this shit happens, because I'm not even like a romance girl, but I love a good horror romance. And I was trying to sell Spring so hard. I'm like, I love this shit. I love this shit. She's like, no. I hope she eats him.
we could come back to that too on an episode, because we did it on 31 Days of Horror. So we should redo that now with new Lindsay brain.
Let's do
healed
it.
Lindsay brain, right? I've come a long way over the last few years dealing with myself. So
traumatizing movies have done it for her. Yes. Excellent.
I feel like that sometimes.
It feels like that, yeah.
Yeah, I found the monster's name. His name is Pelican, and yeah, this monster is finer than the other guy. So
okay, I'm googling Pelican.
He's a pelican.
How you spell that?
Peloquin. When he popped up in the show, I was like, okay, wait, what about this dude? I was thinking there was no hot people.
I'm sorry. But this guy isn't a lot like Birds with where something.
I should have known this was the guy you were talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I gotta see him too. Yeah. He's hot.
It's the guy. It's almost giving dreads, but he was the one who wanted to eat. Boom.
The only black guy on the show, I guess.
Literally, he.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was like, meat. This one? Can I eat this one? What about that one?
I don't give a shit. This guy's food. I'm eating him. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
It felt like if Clive Barker did Labyrinth, That was the
Yes!
vibe that I was
I was
getting.
literally
Yeah.
just gonna
And I'm
say
like-
that.
I was like, all of these, like the monsters and the like the puppets and the prosthetics. I'm like, this feels like I'm watching like
Yes,
Labyrinth
Jim
but
Henson.
rated R.
Yes, that I was literally going to say this is giving Labyrinth. I liked the underground. I liked when they showed Midian and all the different
Yeah, the
kinds of
setting was great.
Nightbreed.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that shit. And I like that there's like a it was very confusing at the beginning, like, is this a real place? Do I have to step through a portal to another dimension? And they're like, oh no, it's just downstairs. That's cool.
In this very easily opened mausoleum.
Yeah, they answered
Yeah.
questions really easily. They were like, "Is it a town?" And the guy was like, "No, it's not a town. It's just a cemetery right down the road."
One of the cops was like, "Oh, Midian's my jurisdiction," and I'm like, "It's
Right.
a fucking place!" Like,
Yeah, it's a
oh,
cemetery.
yeah, okay,
It's
okay, I like that.
I am so sad that this was my first Clive Barker movie.
You didn't watch Hellraiser?
I have not
Yeah.
seen Hellraiser yet. It's on my list of things like I want to sit down and like watch like the chunk of them, but this is like the first like I've seen people play Clive Barker's games and I've read some of his comics, so it's like I'm like not totally unfamiliar with Clive Barker, but I'm like I hate that like Nightbreed was the first like film.
Yo,
of his.
I would not have recommended that to be the.
So-
I wouldn't. Oh man, I'm so sad about that. But
so, well, it was charming. It had its moments, and I didn't hate it. Like I was editing.
I didn't hate it either.
I was editing my novella and I found myself stopping what I was doing and actually paying attention to the screen. So there were moments of it that was like this I don't know if I should have like maybe not watched the director's cut. Saved myself 45 minutes.
I feel like maybe me too.
Oh.
Can I say what was like fucking crazy about this movie? The doctor was insane. Like, but it didn't make any sense right out the gate. I was like, that's the bad guy. He's talking very slow. I was like, that's the bad guy. And that he tells Moon, oh, you're doing great. You should still come see me. And then he's like, you killed people. Take these mysterious drugs that I'm not making you go through a pharmacy to get. And he takes them like an idiot.
In his evil villain lair office.
Terrible.
Like, yeah,
Terrible.
he-
And then he's like, oh, he's like a weird racist serial killer. He hates the Nightbreed and he wears a
Thank you.
mask and
Racism. That's
racist.
Yeah.
pretty wild, also. But it seems like, yeah, he definitely targets Haitians. He's like, oh, this one's dumb. This one's gullible. And like, this one's puritanical. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, so I felt like that was an element of it, that he chose Boone because Boone had all this internalized guilt and, you know, hero do-goodism about himself, that he would just turn himself in for a crime he never committed. So
It's
I
so
felt like
stupid.
the puritanical bit, all this heaven and hell, good and evil. Ultimately, they didn't have that great of a nose for evil because Decker got through like what, half the movie? More than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My God, you okay with the names?
Fresh.
Yeah. It was
I don't know.
Yes, the creepotherapist.
yeah.
Yes.
with his
Forget
weird
it, like-
mask. The offsetter zipper drove me crazy.
Oh my
Okay, but then
mask.
he leaves his mask and his knife in his car when he's in the middle of all the action with the cops, and the cops like the black cop is like, "What's this?" and he
Right.
kills him. I'm like, why would you bring that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you put it in the trunk? If you don't want people to know that to you, I don't know.
He liked exposing himself though. I mean,
Yeah.
he showed himself to what's her name? Anne or whatever her name was.
Oh, he catfished her. He said he
Yeah.
was a banker
Cheryl.
and the friend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Singer girl's friend.
Yeah. Cause she's like, how do you know my name? And he was like, ta-da! It's
Yeah.
me. You
I'm
know?
a bastard.
Right. He really was kind of into that. Like, I mean, honestly, you shouldn't show people your face unless you're like sure they're not gonna get away. Like, so
Yeah. Yeah, and then like the whole like where he went to use the guy's phone, he came in with the mask off, but then came right back in the back door wearing the same clothes with the mask back.
Right.
So
I mean, bro, we know it's you at this
Yeah,
point.
Yeah.
he's like, I'm
I felt
over it. Like, let's
I
get down
felt
to
like
business.
the preacher character was really underutilized too and came out of nowhere. The one that was in the
Agree.
jail cell. I was like, you could
Yes.
have had so much potential to help like set up the world and build the lore. And where did you come from? And also,
did he
why
come
was
from?
Boone in his underwear? Like every time I looked up, he was naked. Like what is? I just talked
They
to Elle
paid
last
for
night. I was
those.
like,
Yeah, they paid for those shots. They paid
I
for the
was
body
like,
audio.
in
What
his
a tidy whitey scene that
like his
he
ill-fitting tiny white.
drugged. Like they were both in the worst underwear ever, the least sexy underwear ever. That's what you're fantasizing about, bro. It's like surely
Right.
you know you're drugged. Like you're gonna fantasize.
Yeah,
Even she had on tidy whities.
yeah, yeah. It's like every time I looked up, he was like naked. I'm like, what is happening? I was like,
Put some clothes on, Boonathan.
yeah.
Boonathan. Boonery.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm gonna read the book, but like
Yeah.
this is one where I feel like I would not be mad. Like if they remade Labyrinth, I don't do that. But if they wanted to remake this one,
Yeah, it's okay. Like just move some things out, or some modern day costuming might help, But it's
Yeah.
been like bad 90s CG. Honestly, I'd rather see like the
yes.
weird costumes. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Honestly, it would probably be really fun if you did like a 6-part HBO series. So that way you could see all the lore,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
could see all the stuff that you need to, and then call it
Yeah.
done.
I'm
Like,
always a fan of a mini series. Like I
because-
felt like when they originally did it as a mini series, I was like, oh, okay. And I feel like they should always because it's a big ass fucking book. I don't know how big this book is.
I don't know. I was actually about to look that up because Clive Barker is not known for being
Brief.
concise when it comes to at least from the comics and the games and stuff that I read. Again, this is my first Clive Barker film, so I don't know what else to expect when it comes into the film.
I see 368 pages.
Yeah,
It's based on Cabal, in 1988 horror novel.
it wasn't
I'm-
bad. It was fun. It was of its time.
Yeah. It was just too long.
Certainly.
I didn't know there
Yes.
was a different cut. I would have 100% watched the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where to find it. I think only the director's cut was on.
pick on Amazon.
I think it's on
Okay.
Amazon because I had everything queued up on Amazon, and then I forgot that I canceled my Prime subscription like 2 days ago. So like all of my like stuff was gone. I was like, no.
Oh, no.
I just bookmarked them all on Tubi and I was like, I'll get back to those like at the beginning of the week. And I've just been picking them off. I also watched these movies like in weird order. I would watch parts of them. I watched this one in 3 parts. So it
Understandable.
was interesting.
It's
Yeah.
only a 20-minute difference.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
It was overall. I mean, I didn't hate watching it. There was some stuff that was kind of like a life yuck, like when the cop shot him up like 30 times. I was
Yeah.
like, kind of crazy how that we're used to that being like a joke in movies, that the cops like will overshoot anyone for any reason. Like, so I don't know. It had little parts like that I just were like, I see you. So I guess, I'd watch a ramped up version. It was probably pretty badass at the time.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what I was thinking. Like when it came out like in 1990, I bet this was awesome.
I bet it was
Mhm.
awesome. So I'm with it for that reason. I realize I'm seeing something vintage
Yeah.
piece. So, it has a feel. The leather jackets though, everywhere. And I'm with
Mhm.
it.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
The
Mhm.
fashion,
Yes.
that late 80s, early 90s fashion is excellent.
Yes.
I am a fan.
That whole like everyone grabbing the guns and racing off to go like charge the cemetery scene felt so American. And I'm like, this movie is set in Canada. I was like,
I didn't even notice that.
yeah, because it's like
Yeah.
it's set in Edmonton. Like it's
Mm.
set in they even mention it like in the beginning, like it's set in Canada, like there's like you can see the Calgary skyline. But I was like, why does this feel so wholly American?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they
And
would
they
like
blew up the cemetery. I'm just like, why is this the
absolutely
option?
blew it up.
Next movie,
Onwards.
Mm-hmm.
Possum.
Mm.
Okay, I've been dying to watch Possum. Like, does anyone know when this movie came out?
2018.
2018.
Recent-ish,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for a couple years, I've been dying to watch this movie. The cover is so like. I feel like the cover matches like the entire movie really, really well. And it's just like this eight-legged thing on the bed, and I'm just like, what is it?
Yeah.
And I think I did that through the entire movie. What is the deal? I'm like, what is the thing with the puppet? And this man looks pained through the entire movie. As long stretches of like quiet and him looking like he has to poop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
This
he's
one,
bad.
my favorite one, except for I would say the Autopsy of Jane Doe was more exciting. But this one gave me artistic vibes. This was artistic.
Okay.
Well,
Was
so it was originally written as part of an anthology short story about Freud's uncanny valley concept, and so that's why everything kind of has that uncanny valley feel to it, because he wrote the short story and he also wrote the movie, I think, and so it's all like full on like passion project from the guy who wrote the original story. And so that was the whole point of it, was to be kind of uncanny and very artistic and very like moody, and I think he nailed it.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
would say so.
It's tonal. It's aesthetic in a certain way, or at least it sticks to an aesthetic. So I liked that. You know, I didn't hate because of the heightened kind of imagery, sensory part of it, that you don't know what's going on until you know what's going on, and then you wish you didn't, and it's over. It's kind of like, you know, the right kind of roller coaster. Like, you don't want to see the edge until you're going over it, and then it's over, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I think because it was such an uncomfortable subject, by the time you know what the subject is, I was pretty glad it was over. You know, that, which was, I mean, you don't know until the end. You're sitting there thinking the whole time that this guy is the pervert, right? Or was that just me?
Yes.
Mhm.
No, I wasn't at first. Even when they show him like on the train and he's like watching the boy, and then he goes up to him and he asks him like, what were you drawing? I didn't even get that vibe then. What I felt was like, you know, this guy is clearly like, in his weird thing with the puppet, he's clearly dealing with some shit from his childhood, and we have no idea what that was. And I think that he might be like a little bit of a child still stuck in an adult's body, and he doesn't really know how to relate to adults as well, and feels more comfortable like approaching children. And then as it was going on and the boy was missing, I was like, oh no, was I wrong? Did he take the boy? And that was really, really uncomfortable.
I was like watching like a bunch of theories about it last night, and there's some that like the uncle's not actually real, and it's all him like as using as a
I hate
coping
that
mechanism for the trauma that his uncle actually, because apparently the thing was like his uncle used to abuse him and then he passed away, and so he's using it as a way to like deflect his own issues. And there was another one, he's like hanging around the school because like when he was younger, his tutor told him they would go to the police after he confessed what his uncle did, and nothing ever happened, so he felt safe there, and that's why he was hanging around the school. And so there's tons of different like theories behind every aspect of it. And it's like really fascinating to watch these deep dives of like the psychological side of things. But overall, so that everyone's just like, this is horrendously creepy and disturbing. It's like everyone's like, this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. And like once you know what it is, it's like, yeah, this is uncomfortable.
I suspect Maurice right away, though, because he kept saying, Morris, you're not my father. Like that emotional kind of distance that he wanted to create between them kind of made it somewhat evident that their relationship wasn't necessarily a good one, but more so one of circumstance where they just kind of ended up together. Yeah, so
Yeah, and he kept disrespecting my man's boundaries that he was really trying to create there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was hard enough for him to do.
I will say that I was along for the ride the whole time, and then the end just skeeved me out so bad that, like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't, like, inconsistent or any of that, but it was just... Ugh. I couldn't.
it definitely was suspenseful. I was definitely on the edge of my seat. I was like, please don't go here. Don't do all this. Like,
Yes.
find kind of way to eclipse this. I'm not trying to do all this. Like, I'm already kind of gagging. So
Yeah.
it's hard. And I like it. I mean, I'm sure triggering. Like, holy shit,
Mm.
definitely triggering. So. But, it was graphic, not in just like what happened, but the stuff around. I mean, the walls were filthy, the floorboards were filthy, everything kind of, there was some attention to detail for sure.
Mhm.
Nothing was out of aesthetic, really.
No, it was like a live action claymation like movie. The puppet scared me. The puppet scared me bad. And I really liked the scenes where, because in the beginning you're just really not sure is what kind of movie this is, and like, is there a paranormal element here because the puppet's already creepy? Is it really moving around? Is it alive? um I liked those scenes where the puppet was like peeking around the corner and he's like running away from it. Oh my god, it was a lot. So good.
And I mean, it was his face, correct?
Yeah.
The storytelling's consistent. I can't fault it. It's uncomfortable in the way that it's supposed to be uncomfortable, but it's very effective at it.
Mm-hmm.
Not the type of movie I would seek out personally, but I'm not mad about it. It's a good movie. It was towards the top of my list as well. So
I don't have the same problems with it that I have with some of the other films that I feel like it's using victimhood, as kind of a treat for the viewer. If you're empathizing with the abuser, there was really no way to do that in the film. Like, even when lets the boy out at the end, you only see a glimpse of him as he's scurrying away. You never really get to interact with the victims in their childhood state, which good, because I don't want to watch a film that caters to predators. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So film, there wasn't a way to do that. Like, who wants to sort through all the, cinematographic artistry to get to a trauma story that was so vague for all of the movie? So I think in a way it served its purpose. You had to feel all of the emotions of the victim, which was just hellish, without feeling the emotions of the abuser, which is great because we know that those are pleasurable and cringy or whatever. So I kind of liked that this film was different in that way. There was really no way to trauma porn here. So
Yeah. Yes, I appreciate being spared that, especially because I get very stressed out when I don't know what kind of movie I'm watching. Because I'm like, what's gonna happen to me? I think it's pretty good. And definitely not one that I'm like gonna be like, oh, let's watch Possum. Like, let's turn that back on. It was, I really feel like this is a very good like one-time watch, and to go into it without knowing what it's about.
and it was slow.
Yeah, I wasn't mad about that though. I had it on my iPad. I was like doing chores while I was watching it, but I kept going, what the fuck is happening right now? And I paused it a couple times. The most notable scene, because I made Freddie look at it because I'm like, isn't this like so unsettling? Like, the man walks in to the room and he looks so defeated, and you can see a mirror on the side of the wall, and the puppet is like in the mirror, like hanging on the wall, like he had tried to get rid of it again, and it was just, he's like, you're back. but it was so visually like, wow, look at this.
I think the point of the puppet was that it was supposed to be like a representation of the trauma. No matter how many times he tried to shove it down and burn it and get rid of it, it was always still there in the corner of his eye. And I think they portrayed that perfectly in this movie because it's all so subtle and it's in the shadows and it's just a creepy and unsettling thing. And I was like, I did think they did a really good job with it. I see a lot of people like rope in with the house that Jack built. Slow, and this is weird, and what am I watching, and why is this so uncomfortable? As
That's
the
on my
end, you're just like,
TBW.
yeah, the house of Jack built is really good too, but it's just it has that same kind of like, again, that slow building, you don't know what you're getting into kind of thing, and
That's good to know in advance.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah, it's that Hereditary genre of like I've seen
God.
this once. I don't need to see this again. Like I don't need to watch
Oh,
mom decapitate herself again. Like or the
I've
daughter get
watched-
decapitated.
I've watched Hereditary a couple of times, but I vividly remember with both Hereditary and Midsummer wanting to leave in the movie theater because I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But I didn't.
Hereditary was terrifying for me because I have allergies, and so like I was done at that point already. Like I was
Oh,
traumatized. It was just like what Black Phone for me. There was a very traumatizing
Mhm.
moment in the beginning of Black Phone that caused me to turn it off and wait a week before I came back to watch it
Yeah.
because it reminded me of abuse I had in my childhood. You know, sometimes movies just be triggering you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Everybody has their own, you know.
Black Phone was unsettling.
Oh, I know.
We have to do that sometime.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was so in the theater, like after I was just like this, like I love I hate things happening to kids, but I love when kids come out on top. Like I just love when kids conquer the shit, you know?
I also love how Ethan Hawke didn't want to do the movie because he didn't want people to stereotype him as a bad guy. He's like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be a bad guy in movies. And so he almost didn't do the movie. And I was like, you sweet, sweet man. You have like
What a
40
sweetie
years
boo.
worth of like acting credits. No one's going to typecast you now.
No, no,
It's like,
they
you
won't,
just
and I
go
definitely
have
don't.
fun.
Yeah,
Go have fun with your movies. You're at that age, you're allowed to just go have fun and do what you want.
and do whatever you want. Shall we move on to our final and best movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe? So when this movie dropped on Netflix, I watched it twice back to back because I liked it so much. And Emile Hirsch is in it. I love Emile
I
Hirsch.
love Emile Hirsch.
So cute. I really. Oh, this is your first time watching this movie, right?
Mhm.
I really, really, really wanted to know what you thought of it because of what the lady ends up being. So this movie is about a Jane Doe. She's uncovered and they bring it to like a Sun and Pop shop.
It's not a pop shop.
I couldn't think of the word. It's a morgue.
A mortuary.
Mortuary. Okay. And it's like an urgent situation. The cop needs a COD that night. Little Emile is trying to go on a date with his girlfriend. And he decides to stay because this is just his dad needs his help. This is just too mysterious. I really like this movie. I feel like
It's the most solid out of all of them that we've watched.
yes.
This is in my top 3 favorite horror films of all time. Like
Love
I
that.
love The Autopsy of Jane Doe. And part of that is because I am a funeral director. This is my wheelhouse. This is the place that I'm in. This is a comfortable place for me. But there's just something about the slow build of it all, and I love my isolated settings with small casts. This is everything, and then like Elle knows, you read my novella. I like small buildings with casts trapped in places they can't get out with weird things happening. So, and I just remember I watched it the first time. I was like, this is phenomenal, because at the time I was just getting into horror films, and then Cabin in the Woods was like my number one. This bumped Cabin in the Woods down, so I'm like, Autopsy of Jane Doe usually sits in my number 1 or number 2 favorite horror films. Like I love this movie.
I think that's so interesting because I hated Cabin in the Woods when I watched it, and everybody always roasts me for it. But I'm like, in my defense, I watched it when it first came out. I
Yeah.
could do a rewatch. I don't remember why I hated it. I just remember that it did, but I don't hate this movie.
I don't remember Cabin in the Woods. I always got it mixed up with Cabin Fever, and then I realized those were two different movies.
I like Cabin Fever.
I'm curious what you guys love about it. Not that I didn't love it. I just thought it was a little mid.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it. Like,
I
it
just
wasn't
like it.
bad.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I think I still have some of the like the nostalgia for the first time that I watched it. Because I mean, when did this movie come out?
2016.
2016.
2016. I was much less seasoned than I am now.
Same.
I had seen a lot. I mean, I've always watched horror movies, but I didn't have a podcast, so I wasn't watching them nonstop. I just was really impressed with yeah, everything that Elle said. I liked the slow burn. I like a slow burn where I'm not disappointed and like the storytelling falls through. I felt like there was a lot of discovery that happened in this movie. There was the underlying, unhealed trauma with the mother passing away in there, and rest in peace to Stanley the cat. I thought that was fucking unnecessary because Stanley wasn't performing the autopsy on Homegirl. He was just minding his business and being a grumpy cat.
Yeah.
But and then the story with the girlfriend, and Emil's trying to leave, and he doesn't know how to tell his dad that he doesn't want to go into the family business. It's giving supernatural. And then it just like it gets more and more mysterious. I just like it. It's a really good time. I feel like it's it's solid.
The actress who plays Jane Doe, like, what a role to have to just lay there and not move the entire time.
Butt naked.
Yeah, like, and again, I love things that have small casts, and it was so intimate, and you could like the dynamic between the father and son it's so believable, and it feels so real, and it feels just like a way a dad would just like sit there and mess with his son's boyfriend or girlfriend and things like that, and it's just again. Same thing. It came out in 2016, and I was just starting to get into horror films. And so before that, my other options that I had watched were the first two Conjuring movies, the first Annabelle movie, Cabin in the Woods, like Shaun of the Dead. Like, it was like not a very like, that was that Daniel Radcliffe movie that he did right after Harry Potter. No.
The woman, that's terrible.
Woman in Black. Yeah, so it's like I did not have a wide spectrum, and I saw this and I was like, oh, there can be something dynamic and beautiful and haunting about horror. Haunting of Hill House was 2018, so it came out like shortly after that. So I'm like, yeah, I love these kinds of like this is my jam when it comes to the horror thing. So I just really like this movie.
And out of all the movies that we have watched, this is the best.
Yeah.
It is.
Unquestionable. Yeah. Unquestionably. Yeah. What I appreciated when Stef was like, I wonder what Lindsay thinks about it, and it's because I have problems with depictions of witchcraft in movies, because they get it wrong constantly, because the witch hunts and all that shit was a way of theocratic assholes murdering innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I liked about this movie is that was acknowledged in the end of it. And it's like, this was an innocent person that was cursed by the people that were trying to rid her of the demons. Right. And that is what I appreciated about the movie. The lore elements of it tied into each other. They could have given me a little bit more. I would have appreciated it. But I do appreciate that they took that step to be realistic about it and not be like, oh, it's a witch corpse and it's gonna haunt you and like turn you into a demon, and miss me with that shit.
So the people who then like killed each other themselves dug her up, or the cops dug her up from the first house?
I think she was partially unearthed, right?
Yeah, yes. She was partially unearthed.
Yeah. So when it's like she's like exacting her revenge, I really liked that. I like that it's like a continuous loop I like when they said, you know, they created the thing that they were trying to destroy. Like they turned her into this. I automatically started thinking about the Witching Hour book, and I was like, fucking witch general giving her that goddamn book, you know,
Yep.
and he started this shit. I'm mad at him like I'm mad at Chris Brown.
I'm on that bandwagon. Fuck Chris Brown. In that same Chris Brown vein, I didn't like that every like woman who had a name, even if it was Jane in this movie, just caught a total stray and could not be alive. Not even his girlfriend, not even his mother, not a single woman could live in this movie. Jane was dead the whole time, even though she was the most interesting.
He's alive.
Oh, you're right. You're right. She was alive, silent the whole time. So it's like either you could be totally silent women or you can be dead. Which one do you want? Like, why did the girlfriend have to catch that stray bullet? I wanted her to like help them figure it out or like open the door and save them or something.
No, I feel like it had to be the girlfriend because like there was no out and she was the only like extraneous character besides the cop, and he wasn't gonna come back as soon as she was. I feel like it had to be her. She was literally the only extra.
They were already out.
I don't know how she got in.
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, but I think that the elevator probably started mysteriously working for her. I think she let her in.
Yeah,
I think she let the girlfriend in. She was like, everybody can catch these hands. If Stanley can get it, Emma can get it.
Yeah, that's
rated E for everybody.
Well, because you know that the people that are taking her away at the end of the movie were also gonna get it. Like nobody's
Of
gonna live
course.
in her
Nobody's
presence.
safe.
Like,
But that's why the cop was like, get her the fuck out my district, get her out of my county, get her away. And I was like, he's a smart man.
Yeah.
He's a smart. Like he doesn't even have to know exactly what happened. He knows that family, and he was like, "Burp, it's not a murder suicide, whatever you think it looks like, it's not that." I like that.
They could have also just, I mean, the family's gone. There's nobody to inherit that funeral home thing. So take the people out, the bodies out of the people that aren't the witch corpse, and burn the damn house down. She's in the basement. She's not gonna burn, right? But you could just burn the house down and then like cement over it, you know.
Yeah,
put her
they're not gonna do
like
that,
a radioactive thing, you know what I'm saying? Like put
They're
her
not
in a
gonna do
concrete
that.
sarcophagus.
We would do it, but they're cops, and it's the same thing because they're like, that's not the first thing they're gonna think of. Let's find this supernatural, even though everything's fucked up and not easily explained. That's going to be the worst case scenario. And this is literally what I think every time I watch Child's Play and it ends, because I'm like, oh, they have to fucking explain that to everybody. Like they have to explain what happened. That's like the worst thing. I wouldn't want that job because who's going to believe you? You know, even if they saw what happened.
I guess I'm just used to like the way I play D&D, and like every houses catch on fire.
Burn it down.
It's okay. You know, it's like it just happens. It's a natural state of houses. So just like catch it on fire.
I'm with you.
Crusty grandpa killers, and they all catch on fire.
Yes.
Put them all on a boat, send them to an island, take away their cell phones and internet, like with the boys. Just do it. And then all your problems are solved. That's how I feel.
And then ship the body to the island.
Yes, and
let her
deal
take it. She can sort it out. She can sort it out.
Because they'll if you have to touch her, they'll get in there.
I was gonna say that, and I was not wanting to go there, but I was like, if a naked body gets shipped out.
I mean, I could just like dress her up, like hate to say it, you know, dress her up as Mary and be like, hey guys, don't touch it. This is like the corpse of Mary. Touch it, the world, and people won't fuck with it. I don't know. Be like, tears of Jesus. Ooh, you know. I don't know.
It
works for a lot of other artifacts.
That's true. I wonder where she is now.
We're talking about creepy grandpas. They're not gonna be swayed.
No, because one of them will sneak off in the middle of the night, and I don't believe this shit. And yeah, shuffle over, and I'm gonna do it. Everyone's asleep.
So like behind every scary scenario in the world is like a grandpa just
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a grandpa who doesn't give a fuck.
and
He'll do
can't.
it. No. He's like, I'm on my last freaking brain cell. I'll take everyone down with me. There are people like that. There
I mean,
are.
but COPD is scary enough. You know, you don't have to like do it. Just saying. And I like that everybody died, you know, who was there.
I
was
do
like,
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
elegant.
oh,
Yes. Finn. I do. I don't always love an everybody dies situation, especially if I'm like connected to, but I wasn't connected to any of these characters. I like Emil Hirsch, but I literally was like, you know,
Mhm.
at the end, like he didn't have a girlfriend to run away with anyway
Right.
because his
The,
dad
the
axed her,
emotional
so
damage. Like, he's just in therapy the rest of his life. What's
yeah.
he
Oh.
was a noodle anyway. He wasn't going anywhere. He wouldn't leave his dad to his
No, he
old
wasn't gonna go. I don't know if it makes me an asshole, but I like that the dad was like, I'll help you. Just don't hurt my son. And she killed the son anyway. She was like, fuck you. Fuck them
Yeah.
kids.
Yep.
Well, here's the deal. Like, when you think about it's not her, right? This is a body of an innocent person that's been infested by something else that has come through that's cursed
Mhm.
because of the fuckery that these motherfucking witch assholes did. And that's what this is. So like you can try to reason with something like that, but I don't think it's gonna do any good. Like,
So
you're not dealing with something that's human and has empathy.
okay. In my mind, it's still her. Okay. It's
Mm.
just that maybe it's not, but this is just the way that I looked at it. That it's still her, but he says everything that we're doing to her and everything that they've done, she can feel it. So this is like so long of her being like she can feel all that stuff. And so she doesn't care. And also she's
Yeah.
infested with evil. But she's just like, no, I don't care. It's all the same.
It is. It's all the same.
Mm.
If he would have
Yeah.
got out, like he would have.
No.
I didn't really care how they ended it, honestly. Like, and that's rare for me. But I mean, this is my top movie, and I'm still only giving it 3.5 chuds. So
I gave it
that's
4
where I'm
chuds.
at.
I did.
I'm
Yeah.
scared to be Jane Doe. Like when the dad gets the eyes and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be the new possessed, you know, corpse or whatever. But he was normal by the time the cops got there, you know. So I guess, and she was still there with the cloudy
True.
eye.
Yeah.
It's not like vampires.
No.
Yeah, no. Okay, right.
It was
He
a
got
momentary.
phone or whatever it was. So I was kind of thinking, you know, oh, he's infected. You know,
No, she's
he's
just like, this is what it feels like, old man. You don't get to keep the curse. You're borrowing it.
He got to be the murder grandpa for a minute.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds. But that doesn't even really count. He didn't do anything. He just scared him. Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, any final thoughts about anything? Any of these movies? It's been a week. It's been a week. We're tired.
I'm ready for some movies that don't suck, although the first movie of next week is Chud 2, Bud the Chud, so I'm not planning on that being
I'm not
great.
taking a single note. I'm just showing up.
That's my week. I have to deal with that, so. And I did that to myself, and I put Castle Freak
You sure did.
in slot number 2 as well, because I gotta have some fun, okay? This has been a slog. So.
It's
Yeah.
been an interesting array of grandpas and angry film directors.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
angry mockumentary men and crusty grandpas.
who like maybe misogynist and maybe don't know much about the female anatomy. Because did you guys notice when they like cut her skin and meat off that her skeleton had boobs?
Yes.
So they think like our boobs are attached to our skeletons out here. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do. Maybe
These are
switch-
titty bones. Soft
Unrealistic
titty
body standards.
bones.
I was like, oh, hey, Jane Doe's got an endoskeleton or whatever's going on, right? So yeah, maybe just to freshen up those vibes.
Yeah, I think the vibes for next week are gonna be different. But I'm gonna
Weird.
wrap it up. Yeah.
We're going
I'll
for
take
weird dude.
I like
like-
weird.
Weird though.
Yeah, I'll take that. So, in the meantime, you can catch this podcast on the interwebs at ghostinthemagazine.site or on Twitter at GATM Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at witchxpudding.
You can find me at Nocturnical.
You can find me at Hedda_Mel.
And you can find me at Maybe Mockingbird. It's MAYB Mockingbird.
Okay, bye.